Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today I'm starting with a little bit of a different video. As you might have read on the title, I'm calling this the 0-day review. People make videos like first hands-on or review and stuff. This is kind of me picking up a camera that I've never used before and trying to explain it to you, how it feels, how it looks, and so on. This was picked by a friend and is part of a better series that I'll be doing soon, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to give you a first hands-on, 0-day review. So first of all, what is it that I have in on the table in my hands? It is Leica R8. If you weren't very familiar about the Leica's R series, it is a SLR series that was made a couple years ago. It was discontinued basically, and now we have the kind of brother that's the SL and SL2, SL3 series, but this is a film camera only. The R9 actually came after this one, has a digital back option. You can remove the whole back and make it a digital camera, but this one's film only. So let's give a quick idea of what this camera is like. First of all, like I said, it's reflex, meaning that there is a mirror in there. As you can see, there's a little mirror in the inside, and it shoots by basically flipping up the mirror, exposing the film. So that's the bayonet it's using. It's the Leica R, not to, mistaken with the M. So you can see the lenses are a bit more chunky. Actually, this one's pretty nice because it's quite small. Let me see. This is a 28 Elmari R. But the lenses are a little bit bigger because they are made for SLRs. So the camera is kind of like it had no neck. As traditional SLRs have that viewfinder, this one has the viewfinder, but it does look like it's lost its neck and its shoulders are at the same height as the head, which it gives you a very, very like linear and flat kind of look. I really like it. I find it kind of designy, which is something that nowadays with SLRs is not so much a thing. Believe me, I kind of like the Leica SL, and I know it's not an SLR, it's a mirrorless camera, but it kind of is trying to mimic something like this. And this was designed by somebody that I'm going to butcher, so I'm not even going to say, but it is a camera that the R8 and R9 look very much the same. The R7 was a bit more like a Nikon FM2 look. This one was a complete change to that. For that, you can see that it's very simple. It has an advanced lever, so there's no motor here. There is the rewind here, which has the arrow towards where to rewind. You have the option of turning it off and on, even though I haven't had any issues with the battery running out. And like I said, it's a 0-day review, but I actually have used it. I'm going to just try to pick this habit of shooting a video like if I had no idea about it. But very simple. It has an off here. It uses battery, so it's electronic. It has F, which I have no idea what it means. T, which I guess is time. P is program, aperture priority, and manual. And then you go back to here. I would recommend you check the things. Maybe F is focal plane flash or something like that. But I would recommend manual, aperture, or program. But you can turn it off. Then on the back you have a diopter, over and under exposure. So I guess you can go over and under depending on what you want to do. There's a diopter corrector here, which is kind of nice that it has it. It has a closing, I think, of the viewfinder. This is a kind of a practical thing if you're kind of like shooting long exposures. I've noticed that sometimes some cameras can bleed light through the mirror box, so you can close it there. This little tab here, I guess maybe lets you remove it, but I don't really know what that is. Then you have here on the back this whole overlapping. I guess you can do long exposures. Maybe that's what the T is for time. So you can do 2 seconds, 12 seconds, and I guess increments. And ISO is here. So when you turn it on, you actually can change the ISO and stuff like that. Not that there we go. You get the ISO sign, and then you can go up ISO all the way to ISO 3000, 4000, 5000, 6000, 8000, 10,000, 12,800, and then DX at 100. And then we can go back downwards all the way down to ISO 6. Remember, you can kind of hack the ISOs with over and under exposure, so you can even go further of what it says. But let's put it just at DX, which is what I would probably recommend, unless you like pushing or pulling. Where was the DX one? Here. Then I guess you have the timer, self-timer. So this is self-timer. We close that little flap. It has 2 strap lugs on the sides, which I kind of had a really hard time to put these Peak designs. I've kind of started using Peak designs as it does let me use one strap for like different cameras. But damn it, is it hard to put these into many cameras. Sometimes the rivets are really, really small, or the holes. Then you have up here a hot shoe, so it uses some sort of flash. Then the shutter speeds are here. It's a big, big knob, which is kind of nice to use. 8,000 all the way down to 16 seconds. Flash, sync, and then bulb. It has a screw for your tripod socket release. This is the metering is here. So if you can see on the top camera, you have this whole like punctual or like spot metering, spot center, and then matrix. I guess it's something like that, or the whole scene. I used the middle one and it actually was pretty easy. It's this whole like pressing in and then shifting sideways. Some of these are very loosey-goosey, so careful with that. You have your rewind here, which you press and then you can rewind. But then the moment you advance, I guess it does something there. Yeah, it pops back up. Then you have a multi-exposure. So this little knob here, if you slide it here, I guess you're doing multi-exposures, as it shows in this very nice little red icon. I kind of miss physical icons. It's kind of cool. So that is for multi-exposures. Let's go to the front of the camera. We have some sort of flash port with modes 1 and 2. Not sure what that means. You have this, which is some sort of mirror up, I guess, depending on what you want to do. Okay, let's see. Advance. So that advance and keeps it there. What happened there? Oh, we're in bulb. 16 millimeters, 16 seconds. That was very long. Let's do something a little less long. Okay, so that is like a mirror up, which you can lock and keep it there. Let's see. Yeah, that keeps it there. These are the pins that will talk to the lenses. Not all lenses, so we'll talk about that in a second. This is the stop down. So this just stops down and tells you kind of like how the depth of field is going to look. Locking the lens on and off is here. There's the red dot on the bottom here. The bottom has some pogo pins which actually work with a winder. You can see the connectors down here. This is a winder that you can buy. The battery is a bit of a pain. I found it really hard to remove. Battery cover. It uses 2 CR2s, as you can see here on the top shot. The grip is the battery, so please don't forget that. You can see the connectors are all the way up here. This time it was easier to take out the battery. Maybe hands are stickier. It has this little cool little peep window that tells you if film is advancing. So when you're shooting, it'll advance there. To open the door, you push the button and push this up. Here we have a whole bunch of contacts. Once again, I'm not sure what all these is doing. Probably talking about what you can do here. So that is what it needs. It needs to talk through these pins. Then you have the loading and then the shutter. Don't poke your finger at the shutter. This is the advance, and you have a little red dot that tells you where to put the film. And then the lenses. So the way Leica did the lenses with the R system is they started with the Leica SL or Leica Flex. No, Leica, I can't remember. But it's this SLR Leicas. So they basically kept the same lens mount throughout the history. But as things were advancing with metering, stop down, automatic aperture, and so on, they kept iterating the lenses. So there is a whole theory about it that you should research if you're buying something like this. There's 1 cam, 2 cam, 3 cam, third cam, ROM, and it's a bit of a nightmare. Every single time I want to pick up a lens or I want to shoot something, I have to research about this. This is, I think, a 2 cam because it has this and this here. I literally am not an expert at this, but you just double check. What happens with this body and this lens is it won't stop down and meter on its own. So it kind of goes a little bananas. So you have to kind of stop down by pushing there, meter, and then shoot. I actually found it not to be that hard. I did that all the time. So let's put a lens on. But yeah, what can I say? 0-day review. It feels really nicely built. It is Leica, so remember, they know how to make cameras. They're still around. Not a lot of film manufacturers are still around making film cameras. Leica is. The lenses have an extremely long throw, which is kind of fun, but also can be frustrating depending on what you're coming from. And if you've shot Leicas that are rangefinder, you might have gone crazy with this because it's like, takes half a day. It's like 270 degrees. The lenses are really wanted by cinematographers, so that is the reason. You can find a focus for your video, and they're really sharp and really nice. They have a little bit of a glow, but it's not like, it's not clinical, let's put it that way. But yeah, this lens goes 2.8 to f22. The body feels really nice in hand. It is a little heavy carrying it around, and it has a heft to it, and the shutter speeds are really nice. I mostly shot with aperture priority because I like choosing my aperture and letting the camera do the rest. The metering seems to do well. The advance feels really nice and it returns really nicely. One thing I do like is how dampened the shutter mirror does it. It just kind of has this nice feeling. Let's see if you can hear it better. I hope you can hear that. But yeah, it feels nice. I think it looks really nice. I think it's a bit of a detour from the traditional SLRs, which are super cool, super functional, but Leica did it in a very funky way. I don't know if you can change the focusing screens. My guess is you can, and I'm not going to go venture into that, but there's like a little tab on the top there, and probably you can. It has this super cool matrix meter that, I don't know if you can see the honeycomb in there, but it's like really cool how it looks. But yeah, the camera feels nice. I would suggest, if you've never looked into Leica R's, the R8 and R9 are pretty nice, and they're not that expensive compared to Leica M's, for example. And honestly, Leica M's, Leica R's, the glass is what matters. The body is just a thing that you get a habit of using. You can enjoy it more or less, but this one, like I said, electronic, so take that with a pinch of salt if you're not into electronic cameras. But I really like it. It has the red dot, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it doesn't bother me too much in this body. It kind of like complements each other quite well. The Leica logo, R8, goes there. But yeah, that is my, I guess, 0-day review of the Leica R8. Plus, nobody knows about them, so they're kind of a nice deal. But yeah, feels good. Shoots really nice. I kind of really enjoyed it, way more than I expected. And this was something a friend told me to pick up because I'm doing a series of videos on reviews that I've never touched before, and I have very much enjoyed it, but theoretically I haven't shot it. Okay, for the sake of this video, it's a 0-day review. I'll do one with my initial impressions after shooting. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Do you own a Leica R8? Do you not? Have you ever shot some? Are you into glass? Do you adapt it? Some people use this on Nikon bodies because they say it's the best of both, Leica R and Nikon bodies. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.